Money. It's the one thing everybody wants, from the beggar on the street to the biggest tycoons in the world. It's not just paper, it's an addiction. Money is a language that everyone speaks, the PhD-holding clerk and the illiterate politician alike. And just to chase it, people who once lived among the trees now sit in buildings that touch the clouds, racing around in cars built like lightning. Money is just a piece of paper. It holds no value on its own, but somehow it tells you the value of everything else. So the real question is, where did this little piece of paper get so much power? Let's break it down. Thousands of years ago, people traded using a barter system. Heavy goods exchanged directly for other goods. If you wanted to buy something, you'd have to give something back in return. Say you had rice and needed sugar. You'd have to track down someone who had sugar and actually wanted your rice. It was a mess. So people came up with something smarter. They created a kind of currency treated just like any other good. They made something everyone needed, and trade began with cattle, rice, tobacco, even alcohol. But there was a problem. It was nearly impossible to figure out the real worth of what you had. And these goods didn't last. Livestock died, grain and crops rotted away. People wanted something that would hold up for everyone every time. That's when gold and silver coins entered the picture. But even these two-legged creatures found a new problem. Carrying heavy gold around was dangerous, and theft was always a risk. So a group of goldsmiths and merchants came up with a solution. They told people, "Leave your gold with us, we'll keep it safe." In return, the goldsmiths handed out a piece of paper that said, "I owe you this much gold." This was called an IOU, IOU. And with that paper, anyone could walk in anytime and claim their gold back. People loved the idea. Everyone started storing their gold this way. But after a while, the goldsmiths noticed something strange. Almost nobody was coming back to collect their gold. So people just started trading with the receipts themselves. Because everyone believed if you've got the receipt, you've got the gold. And that's when the goldsmiths realized something and got greedy. Their handwritten receipts had basically become money itself. So they started printing fake receipts. They didn't even have the gold to back it up. But they kept printing more and more anyway. And just like that, the biggest legal con in human history began, one that's still running today. That gold storage shop, that was the world's very first bank. And that little piece of paper, that was the world's very first paper currency. Now, if I asked you how banks work, you'd probably say, we deposit money, the bank lends it out to others, and pockets the interest. Simple, right? Based on that idea, here's how it would play out. Let's say yesterday morning, you walked into a bank and deposited $1,000, two $500 bills. So what does the bank do next? By law, it has to keep 10% in reserve. And the remaining $900, that gets loaned out to someone else. Now, if the bank charges that borrower 12% interest a year and pays you just 4% on your deposit, that leaves the bank with a clean 8% profit. Simple enough? Every commercial bank in the world runs on this same basic principle. But here's the thing, that's not the whole story. There's a much bigger game running underneath, one most people never see. And that game? A bank can turn your $1,000 deposit into $10,000, almost like magic. And the transactions keep flowing the whole time. Let's see exactly how it works. Say you deposit $1,000 at the bank. By rule, the bank keeps 10% in reserve, that's $100, and lends out the remaining $900 to someone else. But here's where it gets strange. Pay close attention. Check your balance after depositing. It still shows the full $1,000. And the person who took the loan, their account shows $900. Which means, between the two of you, there's now $1,900 in spending power. But in reality, the bank only ever had $1,000 in actual cash. In other words, the bank just typed some numbers into a computer and conjured an extra $900 into existence. It's purely virtual because there's no real cash behind it. And this trick doesn't stop there. It goes much, much further. That person who borrowed the $900, they didn't take out a loan for nothing. They needed that money to buy something. And once they spend it, that money moves straight out of their account into someone else's. The bank reserves 10% again, that's $90, and lends out the remaining $810 to yet another person. Round and round it goes, the bank turning a single $1,000 deposit into nearly $10,000 in virtual money. You think your money sits safely in the bank, ready to be pulled out whenever you want. But that's not quite true. If just 20 to 30% of people tried to withdraw their money at the same time, the bank simply couldn't pay everyone back because your money isn't actually all sitting there. This whole system runs on what's called fractional reserve banking, built almost entirely on probability. Think about it this way. If you added up every bank account on Earth and called that total $100, less than $10 of that is real physical cash. The rest, more than 90%, is fake, just virtual digits you see flashing on your phone or computer screen. Listen, this whole money illusion is deliberately made complicated, so that ordinary people never quite understand it and stay trapped inside the system. Everyone assumes currency and money are the same thing. They're not. Currency is just a medium of exchange. Money, real money, is an actual store of value. Those stacks of bills sitting in your house, they could turn into worthless paper overnight if the government decides to demonetize them. Because that's currency. But the gold coins in your house, their value stays exactly the same, no matter what any government on Earth decides to do. And listen, whatever the influencers tell you, buy gold bonds, get digital gold, do this, do that, or you'll get taxed here and there, I'll tell you straight, buy real, physical gold. Keep it close. Because some decisions in life shouldn't be made just to dodge taxes. Are you really sitting on $5 or $10 million worrying about a 2 to 4% tax? Be real. And here's the harsh truth. During a real crisis, only the real thing matters. Nobody's going to hand you a year's worth of rice and lentils just because you show them a gold bond certificate. But a little real gold sitting in your home, that can carry you through an entire year. In the end, it all comes down to belief. And honestly, this whole world runs on belief.